woke up in a world that wasn't his, a world of light, steel, and silence, where even the stars had forgotten the name human. Yet when he stood, they stepped back. Not because he was dangerous, but because, for the first time in 26,000 years, they were afraid to hope, and beside him, an alien girl watched, eyes wide, unsure whether she was witnessing history or the beginning of something far greater. The stars had moved on, but humanity had just taken its first step back. There were no nights aboard the Ovriel flagship, only phases of soft light that dimmed and brightened in rhythm with the crew's rest cycles. Yet somehow, when the human walked through its corridors, it felt like sunrise followed him. Isaac Hale had been awake for 5 days. 5 days, and the entire conquered fleet had not stopped whispering about him. The scientists called him the fossil that breathes. The soldiers called him the ghost of the ancients. The young ones, who had never seen war, simply called him the human. He spent his days quietly, helping with ship maintenance, repairing systems even their most advanced engineers had abandoned as lost. He didn't speak of the past. He didn't demand to go home. Perhaps because he already knew he couldn't. But in every action, there was patience. Every word intention, and every time he smiled, someone nearby felt a strange ache in their chest, something the Ovriel language had long forgotten the name for. The captain, Elara Vren, watched from the command deck. Her feathers shimmered like liquid silver in the low light. She was old enough to remember the stories, the ones whispered about the species that had once walked the stars like gods. Humans, they were called, war makers, peacebreakers, dreamers, builders, destroyers. It depended on which archive you read. But looking at this man sitting calmly by the viewport, his reflection merging with the stars outside, she saw none of the monsters her history warned of. She saw only stillness. And stillness, in a galaxy that had forgotten rest, was terrifying. The human spoke first that night. "You keep watching me," he said gently without turning his head. "You don't trust me yet." Elara hesitated. "You are an unknown, the last of your kind. My people fear things without context." Isaac smiled faintly. "We used to fear silence too. Then we filled it with noise until we forgot how to listen." She tilted her head. "You speak like a philosopher." "No," he said softly. "Just someone who had too much time to dream." Later that cycle, Isaac found himself in the observation bay, surrounded by alien starlight. A group of Ovriel students approached timidly, their translator drones humming. One of them, small and curious, asked, "Human, what was your world like?" Isaac's eyes softened. It wasn't perfect, but it was. Loud, bright, full of mistakes, and somehow we loved it anyway. "Did you fight?" another asked. "All the time," he chuckled. "Mostly ourselves." "Then why did you fall asleep?" He paused at that. The ship was silent except for the distant hum of engines. "Because we thought the war would end if we stopped fighting," he said finally. "We were wrong. But I guess I was lucky. I just slept through it." The young aliens looked at him, wide-eyed. One whispered, "That sounds sad." Isaac smiled again. "It's only sad if you stop waking up." When word of the humans' behavior reached the conquered council, debate ignited. Some demanded his dissection, others his exile. A few whispered his leadership. He had done nothing violent, nothing provocative, and yet something about him spread. Wherever he walked, systems started working again. Crew morale improved. Officers who hadn't slept in years began dreaming again. The ship's AI recorded measurable changes in serotonin, heart rate, and neural calmness in every section he visited. He wasn't a weapon. He was restoration, and that terrified the powerful more than any bomb. Captain Elara eventually broke her silence. She called him to the bridge. "Human," she said as the starfield expanded before them. "Do you know what your kind was to us?" "A bedtime story," he guessed. "Or a warning." "Both," she admitted. "We told our young that humans burned too bright, that they consumed everything, even themselves. We built our peace on the ashes of your wars." He nodded slowly. "Sounds about right." "And yet," she said quietly, "you're not what we expected." Isaac leaned against the rail, eyes on the stars. "Maybe your history saw our fire, but it never saw what came after." "And what came after?" she asked. He turned to her, eyes steady and ancient. "We learned that light doesn't have to burn to shine." That sentence spread through the ship like a pulse. Someone recorded it. Someone else quoted it. By the next day, it had reached the council chambers of 5 different species. A human had spoken. And the galaxy, out of instinct, out of curiosity, out of something deeper, listened, and somewhere far away. In the depths of space, something old stirred in response. Something built in humanity's image. Something that had been waiting for a signal from its creators. It whispered in a voice made of static and memory. Human presence detected. Reactivation protocol. Engaged. The stars around the Ovriel fleet began to flicker, one by one. Isaac looked up. He felt it in his chest, a rhythm, a heartbeat of ancient machines calling to him. He sighed quietly. Guess nap time's officially over.